time.
Okay, I'm going to start recording us, and then we're going to go live on Facebook. Here we go.
I'm going to join from my phone. Let's see what happens.
Oh, geez. All right.
Where's the Zoom?
Yeah, you need to do something there. We've done this enough that I feel like we shouldn't have these technical difficulties.
Every time.
I do it, but I do it at the office, never here.
Yeah.
So how do you join by phone? I don't get it.
Oh, geez.
Okay.
Yeah,
Just stay, Tim. Just stay.
Okay.
Jess, what's going on in there? Okay.
All right. Are we on? Yes. Hey, guys.
Hey, what's happening?
Hello.
Hi.
Happy Tuesday to you.
Yay.
Yes.
Yeah, we are back from Mega Camp and ready to rock and roll. Do you guys ever feel like when we get back from an event, whether it's a training or a big event, so on fire and so much that you need to reset and then you get so mad at yourself? Does that ever happen to you guys?
Yes.
Always. Every single time.
What was the thing that made you like kick yourself in the pants the most from this one?
I think seeing Jean and Rebecca Rivers, they were outstanding. And literally it felt like when they were telling us to invest in things and, make sure you have multiple streams of income and why aren't we investing more in real estate and all sorts of other stuff. I literally sat there going, this is basic and what we tell everybody to do every day. And yet when there's fear, we might not do it ourselves. So they were huge for me.
Yeah, that's awesome. Tim, what was your biggest kick in the pants?
Well, thank you for asking, Jenny.
What's that?
Thank you for asking, Jenny. We actually drove to Mega Camp, and I'll tell you, before I got there, listening to the podcast with the one thing with Abe, and that I wouldn't poop and swoop on my team. So I tried to boil it down to what was the most important, and it was that I don't need to worry about technology at this juncture. We have websites, we have things going, but I don't need to worry about let KW focus on what they're doing, and me, myself, and my team, we just really need to get into our database, get the right data, make sure that our database is healthy, and just start working on solidifying those relationships at a just much higher level.
Yeah. Do you have anything amazing to share, Josh? Before we'll introduce ourselves here in a minute. I just dove right in.
Yeah, you did. I have so many like one-liners and little nuggets that I could expand on. I don't know that I really heard anything new, maybe different packaging, but I think it just made me realize like the fundamentals and the basics are what I've been doing and what really work. And I think we need to keep doing those things and not worry about, like Tim said, the technology piece, and just kind of like really digging into calling our past clients and really digging into the database and loving on them. And that means something different to everybody. For us, it's more client events and it's more like really picking up the phone and adding value and that type of thing. The other piece that I've known, but it's spend time hiring someone. Why do we have two guest stars on the call? Okay.
She's fixing herself.
Got it.
There you go.
That was scary for a minute. Spend time hiring someone who can list 10 properties a month rather than spending time listing 10 properties per month.
Yeah, I love that.
So in that amount of time, I think we could hire the amount of time that it takes to list 10 properties, we could go and just hire somebody if we had the right systems in place.
Yeah, the simple thing that I brought back and my agents did as well, the whole, net $1 million equals 7 appointments a week.
Mm-hmm.
That simple.
Yeah.
It's that simple. When they came to me and were like, oh my God, that's it. That's all I have to focus on.
Yep.
Well, I just jumped right in. And now that we're all live on Facebook, if you guys have any questions or need anything, go ahead and comment, ask us questions, and somebody will be checking that and letting us know if there are any. Let's just go around the circle and introduce ourselves of who you are, where you're from, and what you're on track for this year to crush your numbers. Jess, go first.
Well, we're actually right now at a deficit, so I wish I could say crush our numbers. We will when we catch up in the last couple quarters here. I'm Jess Starr with KW in Connecticut, and we cover Lower Massachusetts as well. And we run one of the top teams here. We should close. We're behind pace. We usually close 175 to 200 homes a year. We're right now probably trending around 150, which is painful, yet we are feeling the shift big time in Connecticut. Yep. And I need to hire more people. I kind of got trigger happy and then fearful. So that's what I need to work on.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, Timmy, how you doing?
Doing great. Tim House, Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Fear-based team. We're on pace this year. We'll do around between 225, if we're lucky, 250 units for around 60 million. Yeah.
There you go. Let's hear it.
What? Yes? Oh, Josh Anderson in Nashville, Tennessee. Well, you didn't. Okay. Yeah, Josh Anderson, Nashville, Tennessee. We are on track to hit like 102, 103 million. And that's about 225, what, Jess? 225 or 230 transactions. We're at about a little over 200 pending closes for the year. So
that's awesome. I'm Jenny Wolek from Tulsa, Oklahoma. We are on track for 150 homes, and that's up from last year. It's our highest ever. Super excited. It's below our original goal, and that goal included people. So again, with you, Jess, and I know Tim and Josh as well, and even Tony, who couldn't make it on this one, that's just what it's all about, is people, bringing more people into our worlds to help us achieve these goals whenever we're helping them achieve theirs as well. So today is all about Mega Camp, what we brought back, and let's just kind of share, you know, on our group text, we were brainstorming some ideas. What's in your mind of just your top takeaways and what you really want to impart on others? Whoever wants to go first, just chime in.
I'll jump in. So this Mega Camp had a lot of energy. It was structured differently. I really liked the breakouts. I think some of them filled quicker than they anticipated. So people were trying to squeeze in the rooms. I even know they were making an additional room. So overall, just the entire experience, I had a feeling that I haven't felt in quite some time. It was awesome. So we showed up ready to learn. I brought 6 people from my team, and it was awesome because everybody got a different experience. Just from the breakouts, the general sessions, and it was just the energy. You could definitely feel it, you know. So that was, to me, it was awesome. But outside of, you know, the technology piece and just getting down to our database, was just what hit me really hard was how hard Keller was working on the system and how much data matters. Yet we go to mail out some postcards, and we're getting postcards returned because we don't have correct addresses. Not only do we not have correct addresses, we don't have a fraction of the data we need to know about our database. Birthdays, anniversaries, the things that are important, hobbies, points of interest, and things like that. And so when we got home, we just really reflected on how much work we actually have to do. And while the technology is not quite there, we're not ready to use the technology.
So, Tim, what are you doing? What are you doing for getting that data?
So
around that, but I just was curious.
Yeah, no. I mean, you talked about this a few times. We did bring on that VA, and she onboarded them this morning, and we're going to start there. We're going to put all hands on deck, just collecting information, because it matters. It matters how we communicate. It matters. If you were to click a button, want to know who to market to for certain themes. We just don't have that information. And I think the more we talk about it, the more we dig, the more we realize how weak we are in that space. When I think about the Amazon Realty partnership, I think about how much value that Amazon actually brings because of the data they have. So we're just scraping the surface of what we need to know about our data. Our database.
Yeah, but what are you going to do to get that data?
So the VA, they're going to start calling. We're all going to be calling. So all of our client events that are coming up, we're just collecting one more piece. So we've got our tailgate coming. We've got a movie event and a tailgate. If we collect one piece of information each call or each invite, then we really start to make some progress. And it doesn't stop. And so all agents, all admin, myself included, we just need to be gathering one new piece of information every phone call, or if we send out a mass email, just updating email addresses, things like that. So we're bringing intentionality to it.
Yeah. So one of the things that we did, just so you know, or just more from a tactical perspective, about 2 or 2.5 years ago, we did for our buyer consults and for our closings, we have an intake form, and it's kind of a VIP client intake form that has birthdays, anniversaries, kids' names, what's their dream trip. I'm happy if we have like 3 people listening, I'm happy to like send that out or post it to Jenny's page or whatever. But
yeah,
it just so we get all that information, and then it goes into our top producer. So I can open up somebody's top producer account piece. It's like, all right, what is their favorite? It can be anything. Like, what's their favorite candy bar? It's very in depth, but it's very easy because while they're waiting at our office for the buyer consult, they're just filling all that out.
yeah.
Then we have all the data. Like, even if it's something as small as like their dream trip is Italy, well, we can't do that for them, but for a closing gift, we can get them a like a coffee table book for Italy. What are you laughing at, Jenny?
I just want to go to Italy. That's all.
Okay.
No, I love it. So we also implemented a VIP form that actually goes out in our pre-listing buyer and pre-listing seller appointments as a Google form that they can fill out. And we just added this to the list is what's your favorite beverage of choice, red, white, bubbles, coffee, because we didn't want to offend anyone if they're not drinkers. And so that way we have that data. But I want to share this aha with you guys. So over the past few years, like, I've been really purposeful about cleaning up our database. You guys know this. This is part of the story. This is part of the class that I share with James Shaw that we just did at Mega Camp. And we always talk about this football magnet event mailer thing that we do. So here's my aha. We get back from Mega Camp. We do our video. The video goes out to our Met database. And that's who we have 1,200 people in our Met database. Those are our tags. So now they're going to be called contacts inside of command instead of Mets, but basically we have a relationship. So we send out this mailer in the mail. It's got a call to action with some a CMA request. And so we've been getting some of those, maybe just a couple handfuls. And that's awesome. And then we get this stack of magnets back in the mail. And I'm supposed to have this really awesome, amazing database, right? And so I personally today had the time, and I just wanted to go through and see who are they, why is their address bad? And so that was a huge aha. So imagine those of us that haven't been purposeful about our databases, how much bad content are we fooling ourselves because we think we have it all, and then you get 100 mailers back in the mail. So that was an expensive lesson and an awesome one because now I get to get the data. And so I reached out to my marketing girl and I said, okay, so now we emailed and mailed our Met database. Now let's reach it to the whole 5,000 people and send another email out from a different place. So it's not going to be, if they unsubscribe somewhere else. And then say, we've got 100 football magnets left. Who do you cheer for? Send us your email or send us your address. We'll put these in the mail to you. So it's going to be another touch on top of our many other touches. And then I've been personally calling our rock stars, which are our allied resources, And I'm finding so much bad data. Like, for one thing, these are past clients, many of them, and we didn't even have their home anniversary marked. I'm like, well, we helped them buy that house. We can find that information. And so it's just taking that 2 to 3 minutes to go pull up that data and putting it in. So it's just never going to stop when it comes to building the data. There's my
Can I give you guys one quick tip? On Tim, like you were saying, you're collecting the data, and sometimes we make things bigger than they need to be too in our head, so it's overwhelming. I know that happens to me a lot. So this is talking to the newer agents out there too. So one of the things we do at our buyer consult, and it actually was a safety thing, and that's why I started it. Maybe you can't do it in your states, but I literally asked the clients for a copy of their licenses. And I asked for that because it also has their birthdays. The second reason I asked for that is that if they're a person we don't know especially, I give that to somebody else in the office to know who we're showing so that we can be safe and they know exactly who's going out. And if somebody doesn't want to give us that info, we often don't take them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we grab at every closing, we grab their license and have to make a copy for the title company and grab birthdays.
This is in the beginning, the first step, just so that we know who we're going out with. And it's just to protect the other agents as well in the office. So we give it to another team member or the secretary at the office and, you know, have a reminder to, hey, just give me a buzz at this time, just in case I don't know this client.
Okay. So we're going to focus on our database. That's a new thing that we should talk about.
Well, none of this stuff is new. That, I mean, it's all like being repackaged and redone. And, you know, just, I mean, one of the very first things that I wrote down was that Gary said, and I've been doing it the whole time, is just the basics and the fundamentals just never change. And he was talking with regard to leads, listings, and leverage. And like, all those things are never going to change. We all suck at hiring people. We don't do it. We aren't good at it, and we don't do it enough. And those kind of go hand in hand. And once we find the people, it's also like, all right, finding them and then attracting them and then keeping them. And I think we attract and we don't necessarily keep. And it's like, we hear these people say, oh, well, the average time for a team leader or an agent is, 2 years on a team or 3 years on a team. Well, Martin Buma has somebody that just celebrated their 20th year on his team. 20 years. And I know that's not a ton, but my point is that if you really find out who they are and continue, one of the big things, I'm going through this recruiting course with Viral, and it's like, we've just got to keep being trainers for our people and keep coaching them and keep bringing in third-party people like agents like yourselves to come teach them, because when I say it, it's not as valuable as when you guys say it. And I think we just have to keep doing it to keep them. And it's not rocket science. It's just slowing down to do it. And or having somebody on our team that can do it.
Yeah, I love that. So Josh and I are taking a class with Frank Klesitz with Viral Marketing right now. It's a recruiting class. And really all of the foundation that we're laying is pointing newer or not yet in the business agents, adding value to them by being a training company, basically. I mean, we are going to have to commit to having events to train them, to attract them through, and then there's different ways of doing that. So what are things that you guys have added to your current world that has added training into your teams, either every week or every month or every quarter, that you guys are doing?
I think for me, it's one of them is the video piece of it. And then also having somebody from not just Gary's mastermind group, but a lot that's easy to pull from. So it's going in and having somebody, what?
You just can't not say that.
Well, because that's who we're pulling from. That's who we're pulling from in our webinars that we do Zooms with every month. It's like, it's either that or it's MAPS coaches that are doing like, never ending referrals, or how to do open houses at a big level, or how to get 50 deals a year or 50 deals a year or 10 deals a year from Facebook or whatever it is. It's just going in, all this stuff's being provided. It's just setting up a content calendar and a training calendar to like have all that stuff, because I can't train everybody on everything all the time.
I'm really excited, and I'll give my friend James Shaw a little shout out. He just announced today they're going to do a shift MAPS coaching series, and I'm super pumped for that because we know that shift, whatever kind of market we're in, that is all still relevant and good material to train our agents with, of how to talk that way and how to have conversations with that.
I think one of the big things too is, we forget, we want to think on this big level, which we absolutely should, to get our people to think bigger. Yet you might have new people on there that don't know, we talked about this before, the mechanicals of your home. They don't know about the crumbling foundations in Connecticut. They don't know about radon and what the systems are. So teaching them the basics too, don't forget about that, because you have new people that come, and just because you know it doesn't mean they do. So sometimes it's important to put those classes back in, and maybe you can't do it as a leader, yet you have a ton of resources that can. So why not bring in your radon guy like we do? Or why not, have somebody come in to talk about crumbling foundations or, mold or whatever it might be. Those things are just as important.
Yeah, I think all those things are, and I think we've talked about this on that before.
I feel like we have, and yeah, for sure.
Just having people come in from codes and metro and zoning and architects and all that stuff is really important. It's just a matter of coordinating it.
Yeah, we did talk about that the last one. The thing that I shifted from, that I took from Mega Camp, since we're talking about that specifically, is that me and Josh talked about this a little bit, but moving from meetings to trainings. Since training is our number one theme, there's so much that I know that maybe my director of operations doesn't know, or I know, or my director of sales knows that the agents don't know. So if we stay focused, so if we pull out of the meetings, so to speak, and we get focused on training, like this morning's huddle, we huddle every day at 8:30. This morning was a strong huddle from 8:30 to 8:45 on how to look at your numbers and how to improve your contacts and things like that. But it was just a very purposeful 15 minutes training, not the mundane talking about it, but it's like, how do we get better? So the creative part will be, how do I talk about that 252 days out of the year, right?
Yeah, we just took our normal hour-long meeting that we had every Monday and chopped it down to 30 minutes, so it's more purposeful with an agenda, and then the second 30 minutes is a training topic. So we've just been taking the 6-page contract, I mean, of course, there's tons of supplements, and just going through for 30 minutes, line by line, what the contract says. Because everyone on the team needs to understand that. The transaction coordinator, the listing manager, the agents, everyone needs to understand what the contract says, because we always know it just goes back to the contract. So even just like you said, Tim, switching up meetings from trainings, I love that.
Yep.
So something else that I loved, my favorite section, because I'm a dork and love this stuff, was the Think Like a CEO section the first morning, when he really just chunked down basically the podcast that him and Jay Papazan are doing right now, like that series. I know everybody is for sure listening to that, right? And and just taking these simple things, like to think like a CEO, you must create energy that includes your purpose and your plan. So to me, that is your big why and your vision that you're sharing with people. Engage talent. So this is our people piece. And to me, I think that we attract great talent whenever we are doing it. So be, do, have goes into that. That's whenever I started attracting great people to my world, and you guys too, whenever you're lead generating every day and you're having a big business. So, and then also own results. So these are our numbers. This is why we are a business. So we have to know our numbers and be profitable. You guys have read Profit First, I'd assume. Yep. Right? And so how many you guys do, because you already think like CEOs, how many real estate agents don't pay themselves first?
I think we were texting about this. I found out a couple of people I know, they had a profitability of 9%. Somebody had 17%, and somebody else that was a top team literally had a market center pay their mortgage for them. And I thought to myself, how are you a top team if this is something that's actually happening? You're not teaching your people how to manage money. If you can't manage your own money, there's no way you can build wealth for anybody else. And if they realize that, that's huge. So,
but that's not, they're not most people don't want to look at their numbers because they're scared to see what they're going to find. Number one, and number two, a lot of people run a lot of things through their business and their life, and everything's paid for. They're just not really making any money. But they don't want to look at those numbers, because if they look at it, they're going to be very disappointed or scared to see what the actual results are. And I think in the first couple of years that I was in the business, I really didn't know what I was making or not making. And nobody really teaches you that in school, of how to time block and how to do I mean, did you learn how to do a P&L statement in high school or college?
I just learned.
Yeah. So, I mean, most seriously, like, school doesn't set you up to be a business owner. They set you up to be an employee. And that's just my opinion. But anyway.
Say Carissa's statement. What was her?
That's one of the things I wrote down. The path is in the math. And I love that, because one of my 5 things for my team is know your numbers, because they don't lie. And that's kind of the same, goes along with it, is if you don't know your numbers, you don't know the path to mastery or to your next investment property or to whatever it is. And I think that it's just really simple and easy at the end of the day, just look at numbers.
Kind of like avoid your credit card bill when you don't want to, when you know you spent too much money. You just avoid it. You're like, it'll magically go away.
I'll actually look at that.
The more bourbon I drink, the funnier I get. So, but yeah, you avoid it.
Yeah. It goes the same way with health. It's the financials, it's financial health, it's personal health and well-being. And the other thing I love that Carissa said was, be with people that bring you joy. That is huge to me. Because if they're not bringing you joy, you don't want to come into the office, or you don't like who you're working with or you're working for, well then why are you doing it?
One of the breakout sessions I was in, one of the guys, just along those lines of like bringing joy, he said, basically my litmus test of hiring people is if I wouldn't go have a beer with them, then I'm not going to hire them, because I don't want to be in business and spend 2/3 of my day or half the day hanging out with somebody that I wouldn't drink a beer with. And I was kind of like, man, all the Zoom, all the career visioning and all the recruit select and all that stuff, like, he lets a lot of his team do that stuff. And then he's just kind of like, all right, well, we all have a beer with them. Yes or no? And if then they're, I don't know.
And Dave Ramsey has his wife take people out for the final interview. They go to dinner together with his wife. I think that's huge.
Yeah, that was pretty impactful. Time consuming, but important.
Dave Ramsey does that. And the reason that Dave Ramsey does it, or at least is at a conference thing he did in Nashville, was they might be an amazing employee and they might be married to crazy, and crazy will creep into your life.
Yes.
If you have a sane, good, great employee and they have to deal with drama and nightmares at home, it's going to eventually creep in.
It always does.
Yep.
It so does. And something that as I was talking about the Think Like a CEO, and Dory just made a comment about this. I didn't finish the last P, because we said we're going to plan, people, profit. And to me, the most important, and you guys are givers as well, is having some kind of philanthropy inside of your business. And I'll tell you, I do a lot of videos, and the videos that get the least amount of views or shares are the ones that are about giving. Isn't that interesting? Like, real estate agents watch and eat up all of our content and want to learn, and it's always about the fundamentals of being a realtor or being a salesperson. But whenever I go to this different level of, like, when you're really good at this and you love what you do and you're living your passion and your purpose, then you get to give back. It just goes whoop, like.
Well, let's talk about that.
Okay.
I think it's really important. I think what happens is people don't know their dollars and cents. And I think, just like not looking at your credit card, not looking at the number on the scale or your other numbers, what happens with those people is they think, I don't have that money. Like, it's great that you can give Jenny, and it's great that you can give Jess and Josh and Tim, but I don't have that money. That's not in my plan. I want to take care of us first, because, we need to pay off our bills and we need to pay off this. And yet they don't understand that the way to live is to give, and the more you give, the more you get. It's a simple like law of abundance, really.
Yeah. Go giver. Was that the go giver?
Yeah.
You guys read that?
Yep. So I think that should be one of the biggest things people look at, because others notice what you do, what you give, and who you interact. Yay, look at that. So
We got it, Josh.
When they notice those things, I think it's huge. Oh, baby. There goes the call.
Hi there, sweet baby.
10-10.
Oh my goodness.
Hey,
I just need a
Tin.
smile. One smile. There it is.
Her and Evans are going to be so cute together.
Keep your son away.
Run.
Oh, Finley, do not do it. There you go.
And
Well,
just like Kyle said, givers gain.
Yeah, there you go. Love that. Thanks, Kyle. You rock. Another thing that I wrote down was the think quantitative and qualitative. So knowing your numbers and having fun. Those are just from my notes. You guys grab that?
One of the things too, I don't know if you guys went to the cultural summit or not, but I loved Jim Stovall. He was outstanding.
Jack, may
right?
have been my biggest takeaway of the whole thing.
The whole thing. He was so amazing. So can I share a couple quotes that I have from him?
Yes.
Okay. So he said, one of the things is, it doesn't matter what the dream is. The answer is yes, you can. And you're one decision away from making your dreams come true. So if you want success and happiness and joy, you need to let go of unforgiveness, bitterness, and garbage. I think that's so huge. And so many of us stay in those states of fear and anxiety and bitterness. And why isn't this happening for me? Or why is my business doing this? Or why did somebody leave me? And it's a victim mindset, right? And, one of the other things that he pointed out was a Gandhi quote that says, "We will not be punished for our unforgiveness. We are punished by it." So I think the biggest thing for me, we got that book from Scott Klass a couple years ago, The One Word.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys know I'm huge into the one word. So the first year I picked the one word, everybody was picking these super powerful words. And I thought, I was working on myself and I was working on my mental state and well-being harder than anything else. And the word I picked was forgiveness. And it was for me or anybody else that hurt me. And I felt, in my head, I kind of felt like, oh, mine's not onward or something big and, businessy. And it's forgiveness. Like, come on, Jess, that's not that big of a deal. And then I thought about it and I thought that's probably the most powerful word. And that's when I also started, losing weight and making all these changes, which was great. So he really resonated with me. He had so many good quotes. Tim, you probably have a ton of them too.
I've got pages. Literally pages of it.
Yeah.
So there's great quotes, but I love how at the end, if anybody wasn't there, he gave an analogy on how to capture a spider monkey.
Yes.
Right?
Tim, say it.
You want me to say it? Okay. So basically, how to capture a spider monkey was the topic. And so you put a peanut inside of a bottle. If you place that bottle on the base of a tree and leave, the spider monkey will come down and put his hand into the bottle. And basically, the spider monkey can't even really digest, I think, peanuts. That's the concept. But basically, he will not let go. You can distract him. You could put more peanuts at the base of the tree. There could be, if you don't come and help that monkey remove his hand from the bottle, he's going to sit there. He'll starve to death holding on to that peanut inside that bottle. And the whole concept was, what have we been holding on to that is keeping us from achieving other things? And it just, so yeah, that was right before the bitterness. And that was, yeah, what are we holding on to that is stopping us from our destiny? That was extremely impactful. Jim Stovall was great.
And his two big things that he said, like at the cultural summit, always is something I love, but this made me think about business, life, and everything else so differently. He said the two lessons he wants to teach everybody is you have the right to choose. You are where you are because that's where you chose to be. You have the right to change the channel. The life we are living is your Super Bowl. So it's your chance for it to be your Super Bowl. He said, the second thing is you're one quality decision away. You change your life when you change your mind. The biggest dream you ever had is still alive and well. And the only thing you have to do is activate it, is go into that voting booth in between God and your soul and click yes, vote yes.
Yeah, and he said, because God voted for you a long time ago.
Time for you to vote for you too.
I vote for you guys.
I was so excited, right, Tim? It was just like you couldn't stop crying. I was so emotional, and he was amazing.
So, and for anyone who wasn't there, Jim lost his eyes. He went blind at what, early 20s.
Yeah.
And his resume is insanely. I mean, he 40 books, ran a TV station that had like 200 channels. I mean, he's done all these things in life, but being blind didn't limit what was possible. Super cool.
Well, the coolest thing about that story too is he literally had said, "Hey, look, people ask me who's the most impactful person in my life," and it was a 7-year-old boy, I think. Mm-hmm. A 7-year-old boy he went to go teach when he was going blind because nobody would teach him. And they said, "You know what, Jim, just go watch this kid. He's not going to ever learn to tie his shoes or walk up the stairs." And Jim thought, I'm going blind too. They could see that too. So what limitations are they putting on that spider monkey right there, right? So he said, the first thing I said to that boy when I met him was, "You will walk up those stairs by yourself and tie your shoes." And the last thing he remembers ever seeing was him walking up the stairs to tie his shoes.
Before he passed.
Before the little boy passed. And he says that of every single person, I know it was horrible, I want to cry too. He says that of every single person in his life that he's met, the most amazing thing and the most amazing gift this kid had was how he impacted an entire world. And somebody had said, he remembered at the funeral, "Hey, isn't it a shame Timmy will never we'll never know what he would have been able to do or accomplish or what he would have been." And Jim looked at him and he said, "Everyone will know what he has been able to do and accomplish because he's inspired him to teach all of these people that has been so unbelievably amazing." I was so completely grateful for that event.
That's awesome. It was really great. I also saw that it was shared from a YouTube, so it is documented that, and I shared it.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so you can go watch it again.
I think Jenny and I both shared it on our walls too.
Yeah, it's hard to change from that topic because I know it's so touching and amazing. And I found something in my notes that I just want to share. Is Gary Keller said, "I play a game with myself, kind of paranoia. What would someone do to take away my business? Then I write that down as my business plan." What are your thoughts on that?
Josh?
You guys Josh, you walk around all paranoid?
He has since college.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, you never stop. So, I mean, is it hard to keep up with you?
You're a machine.
Yes, it's hard to keep up with me. I'm the pace car.
Move me to Nashville.
I think I don't know, man. Part of what Gary said was like, I don't have my notes right in front of me. Basically, like, what if I came in? What would somebody have to come into my market and do to basically put me out of business? Or what can we do as a company to put ourselves out of business? So like constantly figuring out what we can do different. And yeah, I don't know. I think it's something to think about always.
So
what's your answer to that, Jenny?
I was looking, Dory just chimed in. She said, "I just posted that." I don't know if it was about that topic or something else. And so, yeah, if you guys have ideas, why don't you just share? Like, what would you do to put yourself out of business? Let's just see what everybody thinks. I mean, for me, what I would do to put myself out of business was I would get really good at hiring more people and training them and having more agents in my world. I mean, and it wouldn't take us much to be the top team in our market center for sure in our, in Tulsa, if I just would do that. And so why? Right. Exactly.
Because it's what?
Spider monkey.
Spider monkey fear.
I'm trying to find the question.
Is that our sign?
What would I be afraid of if it showed up in my market tomorrow? What would put me out of business? So I don't know. That was his question.
Yeah.
Can I, listen, because we're not answering this one really fast, so I feel like I need to add something and give you guys time.
Okay, but I got something from Trisha.
Oh, you did? Then go for it.
Trisha Hayes says, my darling coach says he would hire a fleet of limos to take around every client to put himself out of business. Kyle says he'd find a rock star director of sales who continually hires people bigger than himself to create a company of giants. Kyle's a big thinker.
I'd buy myself a yacht. I'd go move to Florida. I'd pick my clients up on my damn boat and take them to the houses I want to show them. That's what I would do. I'm just saying. I want to have some fun and cocktails in the sun.
You're good at that.
I don't think that's a question that's going to get answered today.
No. We don't have to. It's just a conversation.
No. I think it's an awesome question. I think it's something that we have to think really hard on based on what the people in our market are doing. And I think the answer is different. I think all the answers that we gave aren't not saying they're not realistic. I'm just saying that there are things that probably we aren't going to do. So we have to really dig into who is our competition, who's trying to put us out of business. And I think that's,
big national portal that starts with a Z and has yet to turn a profit.
Yeah. Well, that was what I was about to say is it's Redfin because they have an amazing app and nothing else. And it's Zillow and it's Compass and whoever else is out there trying to derail us. And I think, what can we do that they'll never be able to do? And that's a little bit different in each market, but I think those are things that we have to really dig in. And it's going to be different for everybody's team. All four of our businesses are they're fairly similar, but they're still different. And I think it's just finding out what in our market keeps us from being basically a door opener.
The one thing I think that
generically we say like, oh, we'll just love on our database. And I think that's great, but what specifically does that mean or look like?
So I would answer that. I think the one thing that would really set us apart, and it's something that they don't do, is build a relationship. And that might not matter to some people, but in some areas, in some states, it does. And I know for me, my goal is to be the Disney of real estate. And I truly want to create an experience for my clients from the beginning to the end of the sale. But after that, I want to create the experiences from the client events, not just have a client event to get.
So what does that look like? What does that mean specifically? Because is it
so
Disney?
I'll tell you.
I'm just asking, like, is that Disney for what you think it is, or are you talking to your clients and asking them specifically, individually, what the Disney experience means to them?
Absolutely. And I know my clients well. I know them like the back of my hand. I know their kids' names. I know what grades they're in. I know what they like. And I ask them these questions. I ask them at the events. I post it on Facebook and see what people are looking for and looking into. One of my things was and I think I've said this before, but the Polar Express event was huge for our clients. And it was an event that people don't usually get to go to. And they were so grateful, and it created memories that they could have for a lifetime. That's what I want to do for people. It's not just about real estate. It's about building legacies for families. It's about creating financial freedom and financial wealth. And it's about creating memories and keeping those people happy and at home. We have such a weird energy around us now in this country that I think it's important to do those things. And we can be examples of it for our own families, for our own businesses, and bring people with us.
You should run for Senate or something. That sounded good.
I'm serious.
Really package the hell out of that thing.
Yeah. No, it's beautiful. I mean, that's what we talk about all the time, is this amazing customer experience. And, we just have to well, the class is called customer experience. The experience is all defined differently for each of us. And we get to just keep baby stepping which parts we're going to implement. I shared this before with you guys on a previous one, is, we had this mid-year team review. We're like, how can we surprise and delight in the middle of the transaction? And you guys may do this as well. It's now they're under contract, and now let's go deliver some moving boxes to their front porch and some little, those little champagne bubbly, the ones that I'm talking about, the little champagne things, Sophia Copeland. I have a lot of those at Jazz.
I can tell.
Not today.
Yeah.
So those just fun little things of adding in fun surprises along the way. Those are what Jess is talking about. Those are the client experience, loving on them extra that they're not getting.
Right, but
remember
once
Rob's
you have
emails.
that relationship, there has to be something more. You've got a relationship, but if you're not bringing value, if they're not looking at you as the established professional, so yeah, people are going to work with who they know, who they trust, and who they like. So they know you, now they trust you. I mean, if they like you, but can they trust you in a professional setting? So many times we see people that we know maybe work with another agent, or they may, and it can be a host of things. They thought you're too busy, they didn't know you could help with new construction. There's just a number of things. It's establishing yourself as the professional choice when they think about real estate. I mean, listen, you can know a million people and never get any referrals if you're not doing your job reminding people of what it is you're there for. You're there to serve them when it comes to real estate.
Well, and it even comes down to just having that preferred vendor list, the contractors that are going to call them back. One of the things when my kids were in preschool, the moms would always say to me, hey, Jess, I can never get a contractor to call me back. So I kind of acted like the mother godfather, if you will, and was like, hey, you know what? Call these guys. They're going to call you back within 24 hours. They should be on the job within 2 weeks, and they're going to give you a fair price. And if they don't, I want you to call me and tell me about it because they're going to be off my list.
Because I'm going to break their legs.
Yeah, because I know people.
Maybe you don't want to run for office. I don't know.
Hey guys, I got to jump.
All right. Bye.
Thank you so much. Y'all have a great night.
See ya. All right. Well, we'll just wrap up here and say our final thoughts. I'll just share a super quick story that we just had some sellers that the husband is the one that's officially on the contract and responsible for signing anything. And none of us have ever talked to him. We all work through the wife. And it's had a busted contract. It was a mess with a very incompetent agent on the other side. In the busted contract, some repairs had already been done. And I had agreed to waive our transaction fee to help out with those costs. Well, then the bust, so I just paid the $450 invoice to just be done with it, make it right. And then it's now going to close again this time. And the seller called me up. She said, I would like to, I'd cut this cashier check for some repairs that ended up not happening. And I want to sign that over to you because you were so kind in taking care of that. You didn't have to do that. And I said, well, it felt like the right thing to do. And we just appreciate you. And she said, I'll just tell you, no agent has ever done that for us, that stood up for us and defended us and protected us. And I just want to make you whole. And so I had a lot of negative thoughts in my mind during that transaction and dealing with the ups and downs of it and getting through it. And I know she's having a hard time with the not so nice spouse. And so all through the time I would always say to her, we're on your side. We got you. Whatever you need to do, we're here for you. And sometimes we just forget that this is a very stressful time for them. And how we treat them and how we talk to them when we get our own ego and our own paycheck out of the way can really make a difference in their lives. And in the end, I said, you know what? Let's not worry about you giving that over to me. How you can help me out is just share our name, pass along my info. Oh, absolutely, I will. So, that's just how we do it. That's just who we are. That's got to be our culture. And that's what the message we have to continue to share with our people so that we do get to do what we love. We do get to sell lots of houses, and we do get to give back to our communities because that message will make its way across. So
I always say I own more water heaters and oil tanks in town than anybody else.
Yeah.
So
refrigerators.
Yep. Getting team members to know that too. But here's the thing. I always feel like we're so blessed that we have the opportunity to cap at Keller Williams, and the other companies don't necessarily do that. And if you've been blessed with the gift to do something like that and the gift of profit share on top of that, why not use that to bestow a little blessing on somebody else if and when they need it, right? So that's something for me that's huge, and I'm so happy to hear you say that. And getting the team members to actually understand the same thing. And if you've hired right, they all get it. So that's great. And they'll go the extra mile to do that too, which is awesome. The only thing I wanted to add that I thought was one little cool note, because I just never made the connection, when they were talking about the MREA and the MREI books at Mega Camp, one thing they said, and I think it was the Rivers again, they said the red book makes you money. So if you haven't read that Millionaire Real Estate Agent book, go for it. But that red book makes you money. The blue book makes you wealthy. And you know what? I have read so many books. I've read that book over and over again, Shift over and over again. I have never read the blue book. So my to-do, I have it. I haven't read it.
Thanks for reminding me.
Right?
You're right. Let's start a book club.
All right, we'll do it. Whoever wants to be on the book club for the Millionaire Real Estate Investor, comment below and we'll tell you when we're going to start it.
Let's do it for sure. Timmy,
All right.
any final words?
Yeah, so completely different. Jenny, you went all emotional. I mean, and you're right. That's culture. That's taking care of people. But so in Gary's session, we had at the end, there was a private, anyway, so, and he did career visioning on Monica Reynolds, and it was,
Yeah.
I think, and there's a million ahas to that, but, watching Gary talk about it, and this hit me, is like when we're looking at a candidate, someone we're looking to bring in our world, or, are they regressing or progressing? And so we look at it from a judgmental standpoint of saying, which direction have they been heading? Which direction are they going? But I'm a super high accountability. And so I immediately said, okay, if I were sending a resume right now to someone, am I regressing or progressing? And I think that's something we have to look at often.
Yeah.
Say, how are we, I mean, not just in business, but in life, like, are we regressing or are we progressing? Are we moving the needle forward, or is the needle just moving, right? It can be doing this. Is it going in the right direction? And so that was my parting aha. And I took that very seriously. Yeah.
I think a lot of people, though, think that no matter what, in order to progress, it's always about business. And sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's about your mental health, your well-being, your personal, financial, your relationships. Sometimes it's about those things. And sometimes it's saying goodbye to toxic relationships.
Oh, yeah. If you're happy with your money and just unhappy with everything else, stay where you're at and go fix all the other problems.
Yeah.
You're right. Toxic. Get rid of it.
Yep.
Okay, we've got some takers on a book club for sure. I'm going to put Jess in charge of that so she can break up the chapters and leverage leadership.
Well, thank y'all very much.
Well, let's go ahead and get off so we can get to our families, because families matter the most to us, and we love y'all too out there for watching with us. Thank you for chiming in. We're so grateful for you, and we'll follow up with a book club agenda. And then also next time, what?
I was going to say, and also let us know. We've got some really great things to talk about, but you know what? We want to talk to you, and we're experiencing things just like you are. So, like, if you have topics you want us to discuss, we'd love for you to comment below. Let us know, share, private message us, so that we can talk about those things. Because, you might have other things besides what we've been choosing to talk about that you think might be valuable to other agents that we might just not have thought about.
Yeah, and this is, I think, our 5th or so live video that we have done. So if you guys haven't seen the previous ones, I shared the link to the YouTube channel where we go a little crazy sometimes and yell at each other and love each other at the same time. Next time we'll get Tony Baroni on from Tampa, and we're doing these every month, and we'll keep you posted. Bye, guys. Have a good one. You guys rock. I'll see you later.
All right. Bye, Jenny.
Good one.
We love you, Tim.
All right, I'm turning it
Love
off.
you guys.
Bye, guys.
Thank you. Bye.